are not the main character. I feel like I should explain. But, we have a few minutes for that. I'm David. This is Ian.
Hi.
Hey. And today we're talking about you are not the main character in most of the stories that you're involved in your entire life. You are not the main character. A lot of people, there's this NPC meme going around. Are you familiar with the
Oh,
NPC
yes.
meme?
Love it
Yeah. So what do you like about it?
because it's very evident and true in society today.
So how is it true?
Because a lot of us just operate on a preset operation system, almost in a way, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
There's just a certain set of actions and things that we'll do throughout a day or through any given situation that are almost as if they're pre programmed because of the way society is set and operates.
Mm-hmm.
So and when you step outside of it and you see it, you realize a little bit of how ridiculous some of it can be and how impersonal it can be. And to me, it's incredible how our society has gotten so. I don't think that the NPC meme would work 20, 30 years ago because we are much. You talk to your neighbors, you talk to people at the store. We didn't have cell phones that were keeping us trapped in our own world,
Mm-hmm.
separated from each other. I think that's honestly the biggest that we have these things at our fingertips that we don't have to engage with anybody anywhere anytime if we don't want to. I think sometimes it's awesome. Sometimes we all need that couple minute escape. As you've shared about, being an introvert with things, for you being able to step away from a tense social situation and maybe take 5 minutes with a phone or even 2 minutes just to reset
Mm-hmm.
could be extremely powerful. For somebody like me that could get trapped into shorts for 30 minutes and miss a bunch of great conversation, not necessarily a good thing. So I think noticing the NPC meme, or as how well it hits for society, it helps me be more vigilant and aware of how am I showing up? Am I just that NPC, or am I actually engaging with the people in society around me?
Yeah. Well, I take the NPC meme and I kind of juxtapose it with um, this really beautiful comic that I saw. I might need to attribute it, but it's essentially a whole bunch of people on a bus or a subway, and all of them are having the exact same thought. I'm the only one with any sort of independent conscious thought. Everyone around me is a sheep. And all of these people are independently thinking everyone around me is a sheep, right? And this is the main character syndrome, right? So this is when people believe that they are the main character, that they are determining their path, and they are, right? That they need to take control and run things, and they do. You need to take personal responsibility. You need to drive forward and make a life. And you are only the main character in your own life. And hopefully you have many, many connections in your life. You have many people that you touch and you affect. And you need to be the best supporting character that you possibly can for the people that you care about and want to succeed, so that their story unfolds in a powerful way. That's what I mean when I say you are not the main character. It's not that you shouldn't be self-directed. You should. It's that you need to realize the impact that you have on others, and that figuring out how to play that supporting character for other people in a way that can be fairly simple, right? You don't need to be everything to everyone that you come in contact with. You just need to play the part that helps them to move forward. And sometimes it's that teacher that's a little too strict. And that supporting character absolutely affects the way that your school plays out, and that affects the way that your brain wires and your responsibility comes to be, right? That teacher that's a little bit too strict might have a huge positive effect on your life, right? Similarly, somebody who ignores you and doesn't interact with you and really, is avoidant when you desperately want their approval, the unmet expectations of others that we can be seeking that we talked about before, right? That is also incredibly powerful in an avoidant fashion. And you see this play out in parenting, and you see this play out in older siblings with younger siblings, and you see this also when people are chasing somebody to mentor them. They really want the approval of somebody who's a little further along than they are, but they're not getting it. And because they're not getting it, that really affects them. That really sets them up for some sort of challenge. Right.
Absolutely. So, what I think as you share that, something that comes to mind is, one, us valuing our position as a supporting character to those around us, also recognizing that nobody around us has an obligation to be our supporting cast. So if you are pursuing somebody in like a mentorship type position, if they aren't living up to your expectations, that's not on them. They have no obligation to mentor you or live up to your obligations. But it can absolutely be an incredibly hard pill to swallow, especially if you feel that it's all God aligned. They're on the same path. They've been through the same things, their walk. They went through this. I've been through this, and this. They're 20 years older than me, so they know how to get there. You have a relationship with them. You have a connection to them. Mm-hmm. And then you reach out and, hey, like to get together. Hey, can we talk about? And it never comes to be. Mm-hmm. I've faced that in my own life. I've struggled in life with mentors in my life and what that looks like, and having people. And the hardest thing is setting aside any preconceived notion of who you think that would be or what they're going to bring to offer. Mm-hmm. And that's also something that, as you think about it, okay, who might be looking at me for support as a mentor, as a leader? Am I showing up? Mm-hmm. And we're not always going to. That's a fact. It's understandable. And something I talk about, because I've been in customer service and sales for a long time, is people have to just make peace with the fact that you are going to be the villain in somebody's story. Mm-hmm. Just like you're talking about the main character, the supporting cast, there's also the other side of it, that you could do absolutely everything right that you should, serve somebody the best you can, show up, and it's not going to go right, and you are the villain in their story. And there's nothing you can do about that. Mm-hmm. And it, as a people pleaser and somebody that wants people to like me and to be happy and to live a good life, that's hard. It's a hard thing. But I have to remind myself, that's just the reality, that even if we do everything right, even if we do all we can to support the person we're in contact with, they need us to go left. We went right with no ill intentions, and now we're the villain. Or it could be that they have their own narrative playing in their head. And even though you carried things out exactly as they're supposed to go, by the book as a societal standard, treated them fairly, no ill will, nothing done wrong, but it doesn't go the way that the narrative in their head is painted, you are now the villain, because somebody's to blame. Yep. And we as a society are not good at taking it on ourselves. Yep. Even those of us that are self-aware, inevitably there's people that you villainize in your own mind that if you really were to sit down, chances are it's unjust. Are there cases? Yeah, of course. There's always evil and broken in the world.
Yeah. Well, and sometimes accidents. Sometimes accidents can have huge negative impact, right? And that negative impact doesn't just go away because there wasn't intent, right? And then you become the villain in, if you initiate some sort of accident, some sort of mistake, and that mistake was yours, or that accident was yours, or that negligence was yours, there was no ill will, but you still had an enormous impact in somebody's life. That impact is going to make you a villain, even if your intention was not ill. So I think it's really interesting because you talk about working in customer service. I've seen people lean into this where in their customer service job, they become that very predictable NPC person on purpose to make themselves less memorable and to give less of themselves over in the interaction. And it's a self-protection mechanism.
Huh.
And it's a really interesting, powerful self-protection mechanism where you are playing a character at work that is doing this job, but that character can be separated from who you really are. You are acting out this character, and then you go home and you get to be yourself with your friends or with your family, right? And that mask that you wear is a hard thing to maintain, but if you can do it, you can protect yourself from, feelings, from the cruelty of others who have villainized you, because they haven't villainized you. They've villainized the character that you have to play at work because you have certain structures you have to live within, right? And it's really fascinating. It's really interesting. But that to me is an example of you are a supporting character in this other person's life right now. This interaction is about them. And so you're going to take yourself out of it as much as you can, right? Unless some sort of human connection is necessary, unless some sort of extra work on your part to build that connection is important, you just go ahead and say, this is what I do. This is part of my job. I just do my job. And if there needs to be a villain, the villain is the company, or it's this persona that I have to build because of the company. It's not me, right? And I get it. I get it, especially when there's policies where you're going to come to a head with customers or prospects or former customers, people who are not and will never be, because they want to argue with you about something that you can't change, right? I think this NPC feeling, especially when you approach customer service people, like, are you just an NPC? Maybe at work I am, because I have all of these things that I need to comply with, and I don't have real agency. And so I'm not going to pretend to have agency. I'm going to pretend that I'm actually here, but I'm not. So it's really fascinating. To me, that's an example of playing a supporting character that is a mask, right? But there's also really important times to play a good supporting character when you're mentoring somebody, when you are in a leadership role of some sort, when you have children, when you're in a marriage. Everyone is playing out a story. And usually the story they're playing out is familiar. And often those stories are tragic. We frequently are playing out tragedies that we are unable to change because we can't realize, we are unable to see the story that we're acting out. And sometimes if you sit back and you look at it and you go, oh, well, how is this entire system working? How are all the people interacting? Let's Machiavelli this. Let's, use techniques from the prince to understand all the moving parts. And, don't go rules of power. Don't go the prince. Don't do that. But also, tools are tools, right? So understanding, okay, how are all these parts connected and who's interacting with whom, and what sort of level of consciousness are we all interacting with each other at, right? And it could be that you are in a pattern of behavior that is going to lead you to a bad end, and you may or may not be able to change that, but you can at least play the best supporting character you can play. Somebody is on a road to self-destruction and you're their friend and you really care about them. But how can you play the best supporting character to try to help them, or become a villain in their story that forces them to change for the better? Sometimes willing to become a villain is important.
I would certainly agree with that one. Actually, somebody that I know was just confiding in me in that exact thing, that they have a friend that has battled with alcohol for years, and this friend has lost people to alcohol. Doesn't mind social drinking, but anything in excess or living on it, just lost people to it, knows what it does, knows the devastation it brings, and has told this other individual many times, and they haven't stopped, they haven't changed. And he was just asking, what should I just step away? And yes, like, you may be the villain in that situation, but if you stay in a way, you're still telling him it's okay. And you may step away and you may be the villain and they may never talk to you again. That's possible. And they may not change their ways. But you staying in a way gives them in the back of their mind, oh, well, you're saying that you don't agree with this, but your action says you're still here for me. If you take the action that says, as long as you keep doing this, I can't be here for you. I will always care for you. I can pray for you. I'll always have love for you, but it'll be from a distance because I can't watch you destroy yourself.
Yep.
And in that moment, in most cases, unfortunately, it leads to people being the villain in somebody's story. I think it's rare in those cases that it actually leads to them changing and reconnecting later on, unfortunately. I think if more people were to do that for more people, it could be more powerful. But obviously it's a tricky balancing point, because you don't want people to be stripped away from everybody that's meaningful, because then what do they have?
Yep.
So there's never a great, easy answer to that. But I do think it's extremely important to, and I'm trying to remember how the saying, if somebody's doing something wrong and you know it, and you don't say anything and it goes bad, that's on you. But if somebody's doing something wrong and you tell them and then it goes bad, that's on them. So if you're staying complacent in something like that and you're not taking an action and you're not acting on what you're saying, and something goes wrong, it's on you. And yes, that's not saying that you're the main character in that situation. I'm not saying that at all. I'm not trying to twist up the supporting the main character. It's just a point of your actions and what you take in that situation matter. And if you're, as I say, if you're going to talk about it, be about it. Sure, that was in like a Jay-Z song or something, but yeah, no, it's very, I think that NPC in a sales situation too, that's one that is fascinating to me, because I've always been such what I am in the world is what I am in the world. For me, there's definitely things that I have to do at work because that's what comes with the uniform. So I guess in a manner of speaking, I could be kind of an NPC in a way, because the answers I give are an answer that I have to give, not that it's an answer I want to give. So it's an interesting thing to think through live as we're sitting here recording this to go, interesting. Because I certainly feel like each interaction with people, I give them authentically me. Mm-hmm. And I may go down with the ship at times because I will tell people things where I don't have a control over this thing. Not saying that I agree or disagree, just I don't have control over this thing. Mm-hmm. With that being said, it's the same answer I give to everybody on it. So it is kind of an NPC type situation that separates. And I think for me, and I don't know if it would put me in that NPC kind of category, but I recognize that when people get mad at me in my job, it's very, 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 very unlikely that it actually has anything to do with me. Mm-hmm. There are the off times where you're going to do something wrong, screw something up, and it is you. Majority of the time, it has nothing to do with you. And if you've done it long enough, I think you're going to be self-aware enough to know when you did something that created this scenario, or when it's just the way things played out and you are the scapegoat, you are the villain. That's what it is. But it's not you as a person. It's just you as the individual in that position.
Right.
Because somebody just found out that they need a giant repair that they can't afford. They thought they had a warranty and they don't. They, whatever, insert said thing.
Yep.
Or, they need a big repair and their mom just died and they just found out their sister has cancer and they're 2 months behind on their house payment. So this is just the straw that broke the camel's back. Mm-hmm. And now you're catching all of the emotions because it's all been building.
Yeah. Well, and I can't think of something that is more supporting character energy than dealing with somebody who's in that sort of position where they have all of those things going on and you're just a minor piece of that giant puzzle. But boy, that puzzle is a real challenging mess for them. And how do you play the right supporting character in that role? How do you, and it sounds strange to say supporting character, but one of the reasons I say it that way is because I think that helps people to conceptualize it. Right.
I think it's a great way to phrase it, in my opinion. Yeah. I like it. I really like it. I mean, think of a major motion picture. Mm-hmm. How many main characters are there? One. How many supporting actors and actresses are there? Dozens? Hundreds? It depends on the film and what it is.
Yep.
So there's a lot of supporting characters that go into any main character. So anybody's story has a lot of supporting characters.
Yeah.
Which is, like I said, I think that's a wonderful way to phrase it. And in supporting people, like when you're talking about the sales thing and a struggling bunch of bad news, if there's anything that you can program your base NPC to, I would say love, compassion, and grace would be the things to ground it in. That to come from a place of genuine care and giving grace for, I don't know what's going on outside this interaction. I don't know how bad it is. I don't know what led to you getting here. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to err on the side of, you're not just choosing to be a jerk to me for fun. There's things in your life that have led to this, whatever that may be. And it's not me per se. And that's allowed me, I think, to separate those things and not take that stuff home with me.
Yeah.
There's a week ago or so, there was a customer that was just extremely unhappy with how the process had been and was venting to one of the manager there. And I'd wanted to know how it wrapped up because I do care about what I do, but I already left for the day. So I had him just call me to kind of recap it. We recapped it. It's kind of what I expected because I've been around it long enough. And then I went about my weekend and it didn't affect my weekend or what I was doing. I honestly didn't even think about it again till I was walking in the doors again. And Monday, I was, oh yeah, that was it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the technician that was involved with it talked about it a little bit on Monday, and then I moved on. It's what it is. It is.
Yep.
It's how the thing played out is not. It's not me. It's not me creating this scenario. It's not me making the experience the way that you feel it went. It's just the circumstance of what happened, and I'm tied to it. But that's not because I'm a bad person or I wanted to do him wrong or
Right. Well, it's not just the circumstances, because you're also interacting with those circumstances, right? That you are part of the story, unwittingly, or just by contrivance. You're part of the story. You end up having to be part of the story.
yeah.
So it's not like you have no part in it. That's part of my point.
Oh,
Is-
I recognize my
Yeah,
part in it.
Yeah.
So I hope that that's not coming across that I'm saying I can just separate
You
that.
just don't take it home.
Yeah,
right?
it's not affecting who I am. I recognize my role and I'm going to play out my role the best I can each and every time.
Yeah.
That's what we're called to do.
Yeah.
Well, I think that to me, as you put this on the table, that puts me to beg the question, what's for a successful life, then what's more important, our main character role or our supporting character role?
Wow. For that question, what I need to clarify with you is, what do you mean by good? What is a good life? Is it fulfillment? Is it meaning? Is it purpose? Is it happiness? What is it that makes a life good? Because if you run around with main character energy all the time, have you heard this main character energy? Okay. It's giving main character energy. It's very much like you are the main character. You act like you're the main character all the time. You really focus on your results, your happiness, your success. It's a very self-focused life, right? It's giving main character energy can be used to say, oh, look at all of the confidence that this person has in what they're doing and how they're pursuing their goals. And it's giving main character energy is, look at how dismissive this person is of us, the rest of us who are trying to live life, right? So it can be used both ways, forehand, backhand, if you will. That main character energy will help you chase temporary happiness. It will help you pursue goals and advance, and it can drive you in good directions, and they may be objectively good directions. However, we are human beings that live in community. And because we're human beings that live in community with each other, and relationships matter a whole lot, figuring out how to play that role of supporting character to the people that you care about as best as you possibly can will, in fact, lead to you having a better legacy and more impact over time. And somebody who plays an effective villain, who is an honorable villain, will have a more positive impact on the world than someone that takes their main character energy into personal success and loneliness, and diving off into really focusing only on themselves. So yeah, I think both are important, and one of them comes to us naturally, and the other one we have to think about. We have to conceptualize, oh, there's all these other human beings that are not like me, that don't play by the same rules that I play by, that don't even conceptualize the world the same way I conceptualize the world. And if I care about them and I want to interact with them, which isn't going to be everybody, if you say you care about everybody equally, you probably don't. I doubt it. I doubt it because it's exhausting. What you actually probably care about is a few people that are close to you in proximity or emotionally, and people with whom you have shared scars for some reason or other, and people that can have a positive or negative impact on your life. You care about those people whether you want to or not. Care about can be positive or negative, right? So almost all of us have some sort of feeling about the president of the United States, even if we're not in the United States, because that person has huge influence on the way that the world flows. And the vast majority of us have never met that person, right? And I'm not avoiding his name because I just want this to be more perennial, because it's not about the one person. It's about the position, right? Yep. We care about that position more so than we do about the person. And the person who's in that position we care about because they have influence and power and can do all sorts of things, right? Goofy aside, I love the Joe Rogan bit about like voting for the most charismatic monkey to run the government. It's such a funny conceptualization of it. But anyway,
not far off.
Yeah. So to try to bring this a little bit, bring this home a little bit, that main character energy drives your personal accountability and your personal responsibility to get results for yourself in your life. And that is incredibly important. And then being a good supporting character will help you succeed in your relationships and help you to be a person that can have an immense amount of impact. And if you can't figure out how to be that supporting character, you will have a limited impact in your life. And a lot of it is just accepting how those things go, and that you're interacting with a whole bunch of different people in your life that have different levels of consciousness at different points in time, right? You're going to talk to somebody these are the rules and I follow the rules and everybody has to follow the rules and we're all the same, and, right? And it's like, well, and then you have people that, that are very much like, well, I have my code, but not everybody's code is the same as my code, right? And so I recognize that there are differences in how human beings interact. You have all sorts of folks. Some of them will hold you to their standards because they don't have the presence of mind or the developed consciousness to recognize that there's differences there. And some folks will hold you to absolutely no standard. And that's not always better. So, but be a good supporting character. Figure out the main character stuff too. But you're a supporting character a lot more than you're a main character. So dive into that. Think about that. It's a valuable thing.
Absolutely. I would both have value.
Indeed.
There's absolutely no doubt. And to say which one do you think has more value is not to discredit the other one. I just think there's been too much of the world focusing on the main character. And that shift. Like I said, you think about a movie, there's one main character and a lot of supporting characters.
Yep.
So when you think about that, it's probably, well, I love the 80-20 because it really plays out everywhere in life as you break it down. And I definitely think that probably applies pretty well to the main character, supporting character. 20% of it you spend on your main character development and success and that inner work and that personal time and those things. But then there's that 80% that is for those that you interact with, the world around you, the places that you're called to serve.
Yep.
I think that's probably a pretty good split between them.
Yeah. Well, and when we think about parenting too, we have to think about the similar thing, right? Main character first. Kids need to learn main character first. If you try to teach them supporting character first, it messes with their psyche, right? And you have to bring them through their mental development and their awareness of other folks, right? Initially, it's just take care of them. They cannot conceptualize another human being having a different thought, right? And you have to bring them through that rules stage, and then you bring them through the code stage, which is more complicated. It is way more complicated to navigate a code than it is to navigate rules. And then you have to take them outside of that code and say, okay, now, what if you were raised in this context? What if you were raised in this context? What if our core value system was this? And a lot of great ways to do that is through fiction, right? But you can also do it by studying civilizations of the world, because different core assumptions lead us to different results. And once you have a really good conception of how different core assumptions lead you to different results, it helps you understand that not everyone values the same thing you value. Not everyone approaches problems the same way you approach problems. And there are people who will do things that you think are unthinkable because for them it's natural. And once you start unlocking that, and you can have a thought about a person having a thought about a person having a thought, once you can start to abstract out and understand, oh, they are thinking about me not being a fully formed human being because they're calling me an NPC. But that's okay, because this is the type of NPC I will be. Because if they've already decided that that's what I am, let me be the best non-player character supporting cast member that they have had in recent memory.
Well, all right, folks.
Anyway, you're not the main character. You're not just the main character. Be a great supporting character. Ian, thanks for joining me for this.
Well, thanks for the conversation, David. Always a good time.
Yeah.
Until the next time.
Until the next time.